My mother's wedding ring glinted in the kitchen light, a cruel reminder of the day she said "I do" to the father of the girl who'd made my life hell for years. I was 16, and Chloe, my bully, my tormentor, my new stepsister had just moved into our house with her father, Richard. Now, as I stood over the stove stirring soup, I felt her eyes boring into my back, sharper than any knife. It started in middle school. Chloe, with her perfect blonde ponytail and venomous smile, had singled me out. She'd mocked my thrift store clothes, spread rumors that I was a thief, and once shoved me into a locker so hard I bruised my shoulder. Teachers called it kids being kids. I called it survival. By high school, I'd learned to avoid her, ducking into bathrooms or taking the long way to class. But now, there was no escape. She lived in my house, slept in the room next to mine, and smirked every time she passed me in the hall. Mom thought marrying Richard was a fresh start. She'd been alone since Dad left when I was 5, and I couldn't begrudge her happiness. Richard was charming, wealthy, and seemed to adore her. But Chloe, she was a storm cloud in human form, and I was her favorite target. Mom didn't see it. She saw a blended family, a chance for us to be sisters. I saw a battlefield. The first week they moved in, Chloe accidentally spilled juice on my homework. The next, she hid my phone, claiming it was a prank. Mom laughed it off, saying we'd bond eventually. Richard, always busy with work, barely noticed. I kept quiet, not wanting to ruin Mom's happiness, but the tension grew like a weed, choking the air in our house. That night, we sat at the dining table, Mom's attempt at a family dinner. I'd spent hours making chicken noodle soup, hoping to prove I could handle this new life. Mom chatted about her day, oblivious to the undercurrent of hostility. Richard nodded politely, his eyes on his phone. Chloe sat across from me, her gaze cold and calculating. I avoided her eyes, focusing on my bowl. Then it happened. Chloe stood, as if to pass me the bread, but instead, she grabbed her bowl of steaming soup and poured it over me. The heat seared my skin, and I screamed, stumbling back as the liquid soaked my shirt. Pain shot through my chest, but the shock hurt worse. Mom gasped, dropping her spoon. Richard froze, his phone clattering to the table. Chloe just stood there, her lips curling into a smirk. "Why did you do that?" I choked out, tears stinging my eyes. Chloe shrugged. "Oops." My hand slipped. Mom rushed to me, her hands fluttering over my burns. "Lila, oh my God, are you okay?" Her voice trembled, but I saw the conflict in her eyes. She didn't want to believe Chloe meant it. Richard finally spoke, his voice low. "Chloe, apologize. Now." She rolled her eyes. "Sorry, Lila. Didn't mean to ruin your little soup party." I wanted to scream, to tell them how she'd tormented me for years, how this wasn't an accident. But the words stuck in my throat. Mom helped me to the bathroom, dabbing cold water on my burns. "She didn't mean it," she whispered, more to herself than to me. I didn't answer. I couldn't. The next day I stayed in my room, my skin still raw. Mom tried to talk to me, but I shut her out. I heard her arguing with Richard downstairs, her voice sharp with worry. "She's just adjusting," he said. "Give her time." I wanted to laugh. Time wouldn't fix Chloe. She wasn't adjusting, she was winning. At school, things got worse. Chloe spread a story that I'd tripped and spilled the soup on myself, painting me as clumsy and pathetic. Kids snickered as I walked by, whispering about the soup girl. I felt like I was drowning, and no one could see it. But something shifted in me that week. I was tired of hiding, tired of letting Chloe control my life. I started watching her, looking for weaknesses. She was confident, but she wasn't untouchable. I noticed how she craved her father's approval, how she bristled when he praised Mom or me. I saw the cracks in her armor, and I started to plan. One night, I overheard Chloe on the phone, bragging about the soup incident to her friends. "She deserved it," she said, laughing. "She thinks she's part of this family. Please." My blood boiled, but I kept quiet, recording her words on my phone. Evidence. I needed more. I started small. I accidentally left my sketchbook open on the kitchen table, filled with drawings of our family mom, Richard, me, and Chloe. In one, Chloe's face was distorted, her smile cruel. She found it and tore it up, but not before Richard saw. He didn't say anything, but I saw the flicker of doubt in his eyes. I kept going. I asked Mom to invite Chloe's friends over, knowing they'd see how she acted at home. Chloe played the perfect daughter in front of them, but her mask slipped when one friend asked why she was so hard on me. "She's not my sister," Chloe snapped, and the room went quiet. Her friends exchanged looks, and I knew I'd planted a seed. The turning point came at another family dinner. Mom had begged me to give Chloe another chance, so I agreed to cook again. This time, I made lasagna, Chloe's favorite. According to Richard, I spent hours layering the cheese and sauce, my hands shaking with nerves. I wasn't just cooking, I was setting a stage. We sat down, and Chloe was suspiciously polite, complimenting the food. Mom beamed, thinking we were finally bonding. But I saw the glint in Chloe's eyes, the same one she had before the soup incident. As she reached for her glass, I braced myself. Sure enough, she knocked it over, spilling water across my plate. "Oh, Lila, I'm so sorry," she said, her voice dripping with fake concern. I didn't react. Instead, I pulled out my phone and played the recording from the other night. Her voice filled the room. "She deserved it. She thinks she's part of this family. Please." Mom's face went pale. Richard's jaw tightened. Chloe's smirk vanished. "What is this?" Richard demanded. I looked at Chloe, my voice steady. "Tell them. Chloe, tell them why you poured boiling soup on me. Tell them how you've bullied me since 7th grade. She laughed, but it was nervous. "She's lying. She's just jealous." "Am I?" I pulled out my old journal. Pages filled with dates and incidents, every insult, every shove, every rumor. I'd kept it all, a record of her cruelty. I handed it to Richard. "Read it." He flipped through the pages, his face growing darker. Mom's eyes filled with tears as she realized how much I'd hidden from her. "Lila, why didn't you tell me?" she whispered. "I didn't want to ruin your happiness," I said, my voice breaking. Richard turned to Chloe. "Is this true?" She opened her mouth, but no words came. For the first time, she looked small, exposed. The room was silent, except for Mom's quiet sobs. Richard sent Chloe to her room, promising a serious talk later. Mom hugged me, apologizing over and over. I wanted to be angry, but I just felt empty. I'd won. But at what cost? Our family was fractured, maybe beyond repair. The next day, Richard sat us all down. He looked tired, older than I'd ever seen him. "Chloe's going to therapy," he said, "and we're moving out for a while. You and your mom need space. Lila." I'm sorry I didn't see this sooner. Chloe didn't look at me as they packed. Part of me felt sorry for her. She was hurting too, in her own twisted way. But I couldn't forgive her. Not yet. Mom and I started therapy, too, trying to rebuild what we'd lost. It wasn't easy. Trust is like glass once it's broken. The cracks never fully disappear. Months later, I heard Chloe was doing better. She sent me a letter, a half-hearted apology that felt more like a formality than genuine remorse. I didn't write back. I was learning to focus on myself, to heal the wounds she'd left. Mom and Richard were still together, but they lived separately, giving us all room to breathe. Looking back, I wonder where it all went wrong. Was Chloe just a bully, or was she scared of losing her father to our family? Was Mom too blinded by love to see my pain? Was I wrong to fight fire with fire? Exposing Chloe's cruelty instead of confronting her directly? There's no easy answer. Families are messy, and love doesn't always mean harmony. What do you think? Was I right to expose Chloe? Or should I have handled it differently? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between justice and revenge?